Good discussion so far, Sunder Ramani. Good to see you. You know, I live in Burbank. I live in Glendale. I work in Burbank. I've lived in Glendale since 1989. I don't know if I identified myself, Peter Maserlian, and grew up in Torrance. And I've been in this community for 20 years, and I've seen the very good relationship that office holders have had with the Armenian American community, from Newt Russell to Carlos Mored to Senator Lou currently, to Tony Portantino. I mean, the list goes on. Pat Nolan, Jim Rogan, Scott Wildman, who was the first Democrat to represent this area in the Assembly. I have been stunned at the hostile nature of the campaign that Mike Gatto has launched against the Armenian American community, and perhaps it's a strategy, perhaps it's been successful for him so far, but it has really been very, very unseemly, and I'm very disturbed by it. I know that on April 24th, instead of being at commemorative ceremonies and events around our community, he was meeting with Shahid Karolian at a coffee shop in Silver Lake. Tonight, he's not here because he is in Pebble Beach, I understand, at a golf course with Democratic lobbyists, Republican lobbyists, hundreds of thousands of dollars changing hands, where Democratic office holders are meeting in this wonderful environment with Democratic office holders, and that's what he chose to do. Instead of being here to talk to the community, he is there in Pebble Beach playing golf and meeting with lobbyists. So that just disturbs me as an Armenian American living in this district. But one other thing that has nothing to do with that is a ballot proposition in November which has to do with legalizing marijuana. And Mr. Gatto was on Larry Zarian's forum and was asked that question, and he chose not to answer it. He just kind of said, and I think you were there, that that Amsterdam has experimented with legalization, and that he's going to vote on it in November, and his vote is personal and private, and he's not going to talk about it, which is mind-boggling to me. If you're an elected official or even running for office, don't you think that you should tell people what your views are on ballot propositions, number one, and number two, what's your position on legalizing marijuana, and California being the first state in the union to do so? Thank you very much.
Peter, thank you. And I'll try to keep my answer to about 2 minutes because Paul's going to hold me accountable. Let me first talk about Mr. Gatto. I'm sorry he's not here to share his views on some of these questions. Great questions for the future of California. And I'm sure hopefully he'll have an opportunity at some point to do that. I, frankly, am very pleased to be here to share my value set and my views. You mentioned some other things. I probably will get to some of the Armenian-American relationships and the previous campaign later. But as far as marijuana, absolutely not. Here's the problem. I've been listening to law enforcement, listening to all the public safety officials. Legalizing marijuana is yet one more obstacle in the way of law enforcement. We're giving them more mandates, cutting their funding, unfunded mandates, and now you're asking them to get yet a new vice going in. Here's our problem, though, and I talked to Carmen Tutanich about the marijuana problem. He tested them at the FDA for pesticides and herbicides. There were 2 pesticides and herbicides found. One was fire red ants, and one of the ones I can't remember is for something, and both of these are not indigenous to the country. The fire red ants are found in Mexico, and the other pesticide was used and only found for something that occurs down in South America. What does that tell you? The cartels have taken over the marijuana sales and production. And now you have in the city of LA pot shops opening up at a rampant clip, and we're causing law enforcement more grief trying to solve this. We need to get our hands around it. We don't have the funding for this level, and I know some of my counterparts have thought this is a new thing to tax. Folks, we can't keep looking at vices like this. I'm raising a family. It's tough enough to have family values. When you're trying to deal with the growth of your children, and now you add more vices like this, we need to put a stop to it. I'm a no on marijuana. Thank you.